Welcome back to the Whaley podcast. If you haven't seen us for a while, I've just looked now. It's been 5 months since we did a podcast, so this is the 15th one we've done. But it's been a long time, so
Very long.
very long. So last night I was frustrated, and I was trying to figure out why am I frustrated and irritated, and I'm up late and I'm thinking and processing, and I realized it's because I haven't been creative for a little while. And so that's the topic of today's podcast, creativity. Bonnie doesn't know that until this moment.
See how I react. It's like a react channel.
So what is creativity to you, Buns?
Straight to it on the spot. Creating something. How's that pronounced?
So is baking a cake creative for you? Is sweeping the floor creative? You created a clean floor?
Depends how you sweep it. You can make a little pattern. Creative for me is making something. So whatever that might be. So like with music, I'd be creating a song. I've got into a little bit of baking lately, and that's creative for me to try something new, something different. But I don't know if that answers.
Are you frustrated if you're not able to create?
Not as a big picture context, but in terms of music, I felt frustrated lately, and I realized I'm not playing music, I'm not creating in that aspect. So if I'm not doing that, I feel very frustrated. And so the other week I went and I played, and I felt like I came alive again, and I started getting ideas, and I wrote a song on the spot, and I said to myself, I'm back. not for anyone, but just for me personally, because I was getting frustrated because I just didn't have the time, and then I realized I needed to just make time regardless.
Yeah.
And so it took away that frustration.
Yeah, you felt alive again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling last night, because I'm trying to assess the last couple of months of what we've been doing, and a lot of it has just been either maintenance or getting things back up to spec in certain business arenas, even in the home, physically fixing things and installing things. It hasn't necessarily been creative, it's been more maintenance. And so I've been feeling that frustration that you were feeling a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't know why, because things are going well. It's not like there's incredible pressure, or things have been a little bit busy, but I was just trying to process through, why am I feeling antsy and fidgety, but not physically fidgety, like in my soul fidgety. It's like, oh, you haven't been creating anything. And I've been watching a few things on YouTube recently with people who have inspired me. Young guys, not particularly well put together, not particularly clever in what they're saying, but they're creative, and they're going for it, and they're putting effort into it, and they're enjoying it, and that you can just smell that off them, even though it's a YouTube video. You just get the sense of they're living in a flow of creativity that's, at least for me, was absent from me in the last little while. And so I said to myself last night, I wrote down, I want to read more. I've been reading pretty much nothing, so I want to put even a small amount. I just want to put 30 minutes in initially to reading a day, and I want to listen to some stuff, 30 minutes a day. It doesn't sound like a lot, but with all the stuff we've got going on.
Adds up.
And then I want to record some videos today. So even though it's 11 p.m. at night here, I don't care if this is bad. I don't care if there's quality or not. I was just like, I need to put my flag in the sand. We need to record something. Even if Bonnie wasn't going to be on the podcast, I was going to record it just myself. So you're lucky you don't have to look at my ugly face.
We are recording, right?
Because sometimes you get that itch and you've just got to scratch it.
Yeah.
And I think for everybody, there's a creative itch that needs to be scratched. Because I'm not an artistic person at all. I don't paint, I don't draw, I don't make music. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about fashion. I don't care about cars. None of that creative stuff means anything to me. But I do love building things. I do love building systems, and I do love solving problems. And in that sense, in the broad sense of making original ideas, then I am creative. But a true creative would never ever look at me. They'd look at me as a square.
I think you're quite creative though.
No, I'm not.
Maybe not in the creative sense.
Not in the classic sense of
But you'll cook and you'll try this new thing and just
every
try out
every
ideas.
now and again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm going to cook, I'm going to try and make it the best that I can, and I'll do my homework.
Yeah, something different as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, we grew up in a house where my mum would make something different, and if it was the same, we were all bored and she was bored. So it had to be something new and different, and it was either fantastic or it was a complete mess, but it was always creative.
It was different.
So we recently, maybe 3 months ago, we had a lasagna competition. The whole family, we all cooked a different lasagna because we just want to have a bit of fun. And so I couldn't cook a classic lasagna because I thought I'm going to be beaten. But I can cook a Chinese version of lasagna.
Yeah.
So we made I
Dumpling.
made dumpling lasagna, which
Yeah.
was pretty good.
It was very good.
As a flavor, it didn't beat anybody. But as a
very
concept,
good.
if you took the flavors from other people who could actually cook properly, I think it was brilliant.
It was
I think
very
it could be
good.
like a Michelin star type idea.
Yeah. I thought it tasted good and it looked good as well.
So that's
We'll
creative.
share a photo.
Yeah, so that was creative. But I think
Yeah.
my creativity comes from entrepreneurship or solving a problem or building a system or looking at the options on the table, throwing them all off the table and reassessing.
Yeah, you have the ability to look at something and just know, do this or that. It's
No, I don't.
or you. Often though,
I
I see that in you.
It looks like I do. I just have the either the stupidity or the courage, and it could be a bit of both, to make a decision and try it. So that's creative.
Yeah. Sometimes you just seem to. It's like your brain is just wired. So if there's a problem, you seem to just. It's like your brain finds the way how to go forward or how
Be a
to
little careful. The
solve that.
screen's not big enough for my ego right now.
Turn it down.
So,
Anyway.
so I think we all need to be. All need to have an outlet for creativity, and we need to be playing in that. And so, we've been maintaining, we've been going along at a pace, we've been trying to aim for certain goals, but there haven't been anything new. It's no new horizons.
Yeah.
It's the same horizons. We're just getting them up to spec, and that's very, very frustrating. But it's funny. What caught me by surprise is that I didn't click. I didn't realize that was the issue. Okay. I just felt antsy. I felt irritated for no known reason. Like I'm just shifting. I'm thinking, oh, it's late now. I want to go to bed. I'm like, no, I got to solve something now.
Yeah.
And so even solving the problem was creative because I was trying to identify why I was so antsy. It's like, oh, I haven't been creative. Need to play around today.
Remember, I don't know what podcast it was, but we were talking about we'd just got into a space of now you could breathe and you were feeling creative again. You were getting ideas. Remember you talked about that idea you have for the charity?
Yeah.
It was at that time you said we've just come into some space. I don't know what happened since then.
Well, we had a pandemic shutdown
That's right.
of certain things, and so we had to solve some of those problems. We had to take some opportunities in that time. You can't always change the wheels on a moving car. In fact, you can never change the wheels on a moving car. And so because the car had stopped, we had the opportunity to fix some things up and solve some problems. And so that took a lot of effort. In fact, we've had people come and join us in that time who just thought we were insane because we were doing hard labor, physical labor.
Yeah.
And they were like, is this normal? I was like, no, this is not normal. This is just an opportunity. It's a window we got.
Yeah.
You make hay whilst the sun shines. And in some sense, the pandemic shut down traditional business so we could make amends with other things. And we've just opened up this last week. And so we got it just in time. And I was saying to everyone in the business and other things, I was saying, March, we've got to be ready for March.
Yeah.
And we got the news at the end of March that we were reopening. So it was perfect timing.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't solve that itch. So when are you at your most creative ones?
Do you mean like the time of the day or? Because it would be the evening.
You're not creative in the morning?
I feel like I'm waking up in the morning. It takes me about an hour to wake up. I'm still getting used to this mum life, no sleep at the moment. So I'm not very creative in the morning, no.
It's usually late at night for you.
It's late at night. I just hit this zone and I could go all night.
Are you creative every night, or is it
No.
is it like a pocket you hit?
I don't know. It's like I hit a pocket. I do hit a pocket. Or if we're listening to something on YouTube and some sort of music, like, don't mean to sound weird, but like stirs me, inspires me, then I'm like, I need to go and figure something out or try. I'll get a tune. I need to go and do it. But then I also found when I did the challenge of one song a week, that was a structured thing, which I don't particularly like, but it did force me into being creative. And because of that, I was then creative and I wrote a song a week for 3 months, I think it was.
So do you think it's better to be creative with structure and have a task that you set yourself on a regular basis, or do you think it's better just to let it happen naturally?
I don't know. I see the benefits of both, because I know when I'm writing, I'll get bits that aren't necessarily anything, but because I'm playing and practicing that, later on, when a song comes up, I can then bring in those pieces.
Work them into something.
But I wouldn't be able to do that unless I had a structure and I was playing and practicing.
When have you produced the most? Was it with that structured time, or was it when you just let things fly and they happen if they happen?
I produced a song a week, which is more, and then when I was doing that album, up into that album, I was writing songs within 2 minutes for that album. They ended up going on the album a week before. So there was not a pressure, but there was...
Yeah, there was a deadline.
A deadline, and that encouraged me, I guess.
So what you're saying is you need structure.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. As much as I don't like that idea.
You say you don't like it, but you love structure. Everything in your life is structure. If Bunny needs to leave at 10, she'll make sure everything's sorted at night. She'll be ready at the door, and I'm still waking up. Like, she is so structured. Everything is structured. She is so, like, if Bunny could, she would cook the same meal on the same day. It would just be the same.
Boring Bunny.
Just structured. So I don't know why you're saying you don't like that, because your whole life is structured.
Yeah. I guess I like structure that I set. But it's like when it's, it sounds weird, when it's like put on you, or you forced into structure, I feel restricted.
But who put the one song a week?
No,
who forced that on you?
I did that.
And it worked.
Yeah, no, it did work. It did work. I guess what I'm referring to is like when I'm doing music, leading worship, there's this idea of what worship is or how it should be. And so then I put that external pressure onto myself, and I realize I don't fit into that, but then I feel like I have to do the 3 fast songs, the 2 slow, and then I get into...
But you're talking about something different now. You're talking about... It shouldn't be a performance, and hopefully for most people it isn't, but sometimes it slips towards that direction. You're talking about putting together songs to lead worship. I'm talking about just pure creation. I'm talking about writing songs. Like, no one has ever forced that on you.
No, of course not. No, I've put that on myself. Or not put that on myself.
So, and I'm not forcing this on you. Wouldn't it be better to then put a structure around the one song a week?
Yeah. Yeah, it would. I've actually been thinking...
Or at the very least, 2 hours a week. So whether that manifests as a song or 3 little bits that might be used in the future.
Yeah, that's what I'm actually thinking. Don't do the song a week, because I feel like that's boring now. But allocate...
Boring for who?
For me.
Okay.
So change it up, and whether it's one night a week you spend 2 hours playing. Something towards music.
Okay.
And see what comes out of that. But at least there's allocated time for writing.
Yeah, the space
Playing.
for it. I think I've heard graphic designers say when they design, they need something called white space, which is they open up their desk so there's very minimal clutter. And creating that visual space then inspires more creativity for them. But I think there's also white space in calendars where you just create the time. Even though there's no pressure or you don't have to deliver on a certain thing, just by creating the space, naturally, a creative would make something in that time.
Yeah, I think also people say you're too busy. And I feel like being a mum, now that my life really is like all about Sammy, love you Sammy, it is busy, but I feel like I'm doing more now than I ever have.
What?
What?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm looking after Sammy, which is
It's a big job.
full time.
I can't do it for more than 2 hours.
Constant.
Yeah.
And then in that busyness, I'm running a business now. And I'm, doing the house stuff, the usual stay-at-home mum stuff, but also doing the business, and that's busy. And then I'm wanting to bring in music into that mix. But I'm finding as I allocate time for each thing, that I'm getting more done. But if it's just, there's no structure to it, there's your structure, then I get nothing much done.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between being busy in terms of letting things spill over into other arenas, and then there's busy in terms of just your schedule is full. And I think that's what most people are tending to mean when they say, oh, we're so busy. But I think actually what's happening is they don't have structure, and so they're allowing this activity to spill into that one, to spill into that time zone, and then they end up in this chaotic mindset.
Yeah.
And they haven't produced much. They're just running on a treadmill but getting nowhere.
Yeah.
I found when we started business, because at school your schedule is set for you. You finish college or uni, your schedule's set for you. You go to work, you get a job. Someone else tells you what to do, how to do it most of the time. Then they check up on you. So everything is structured for you, and that's fine. There's not a problem with that. But then most people don't develop the skill to set their own structure, to set their own calendar, to set their own priorities. That's like a big thing that should be taught at schools. It's not. Teachers get angry with students and they shout at them because they didn't study and they didn't do this and do that. But then the teacher didn't equip them with the right tools and show them not just how to do it, but give them a value for setting structure around their own lives. And I remember getting into business here in Hong Kong and just feeling overwhelmed, just feeling so busy. And I would stay up late at night playing computer games and I love management games, like strategy games. And so I'd be managing things because my life was so busy and chaotic. I needed some little zone where I could feel like I'm winning and getting in control. And I'd play the game till all hours in the morning just so I could feel I can win this. This is something that I have dominion over rather than just being chaotic. And I read a book on productivity, specifically for creatives, which someone gave me and said, this will help you. And I read that book and I remember reading a story about this guy, fictional character called Zeke. And Zeke was building his business and he initially got some momentum, and then as the thing started to grow, he found himself in exactly the same situation. It could have been Sean that they were writing about. Feeling a little bit overwhelmed, not knowing really what to do and how to do everything. Coming under pressure, coming under stress, and then exactly playing computer games till late at night and making himself more tired because now he's staying up late because he needed a sense of control. And when I read that, I was like, that just hit me between the eyes, and I thought that's exactly the trap I've fallen for. And so I took responsibility in that moment to put structure around my life. And sometimes I'm really good at it. Most times I'm okay at it, and recently I've been bad at it. But what they said in that book was interesting. They said most people, like yourself and me, we would say we're most creative at night. And they said that's bull. They said you can be creative any time of the day. What you should do is assign your priority thinking time, when you have your most energy, which they said is in the morning. So you're like a robot. You're half asleep in the morning.
Yes.
I can wake up, but I choose to just use as little energy as possible. But they say assign the first few hours in the morning to your most creative work. So that might not be art or music or something like that, but whatever requires the most intuition or thinking or problem solving, that is the most important. Put that in the first couple hours in the morning. Then after lunch, when everyone is now tired or not giving their full attention, or you put your menial work. So that means answering emails or making the phone call or the things that are lower down on the priority list, but that need to be done. And what that does is by assigning your priority work in the beginning of the day, it allows you to put the most effort into that. And it also takes that anxiety of, I've got to get back to that email. I've got to make that phone call. I've got to do this menial task. It takes the anxiety out of the equation because you know you can do that in autopilot in the afternoon. And when I started to apply that, because I would book meetings. First thing in the morning, I'd come into the office and I'd just have meeting after meeting. And by lunchtime, I'm exhausted. And now I'm supposed to solve this creative problem or implement this system or research for that insurance policy. And I'm tired. I just don't make good decisions in that time. So when I shifted all that stuff to the afternoon, so now the earliest I'll take an appointment is 1 p.m. That's the absolute earliest I'll meet people. Because the mornings should be, and I'm not great at it recently, but it should be assigned to creative type work. And that formula is a winning formula. Whether you agree with it or not, you can shift it around. But I found that worked. That helped us out of big holes at that period of time. Growth, positive things, but they were difficult things. And I can feel myself now, even recently, if I find myself starting to play management games or just do stuff that gives me control and dominion again. I know I'm not putting the right schedule in place, and I'm quicker to wake up to it now.
That's good. So last night
night I wrote something. Actually, the last couple of nights I've been writing some ideas down, some creative ideas that I can go down and explore. But then also some tasks, like I want to spend 30 minutes reading, 30 minutes listening to some stuff. And then Jade and I last week decided we'd assign some time in the day, I think it's mid-afternoon, where we'll be creative specifically for one business opportunity we're trying to build.
That's good.
Yeah, because we've been exploring some things. We had some things happen this week. We were exploring one particular business, and we had, as Jaden says, we had the best case client we could have for this opportunity. And it turned out to just be, it financially was worth it, but it didn't hit the passion checkbox. It was just profit, and it was a bit of a pain. And if we multiplied that by the scale that we need for that to be a profitable thing long term, we would hate it. So we actually nipped that in the bud. An opportunity arose where the client was a bit, this isn't where. And we were like, okay, great, cheers, see you later. And so we're now going to explore a different opportunity. So that's creative. Those sort of business ideas and business opportunities and making decisions, that is creative as well, not just painting pictures. Yeah. So what other area are you creative in beside from music?
Maybe you can answer that, sure. Nothing.
Is that true?
Hashtag nothing.
Is that true?
To be honest, I don't know if I'm that creative. I know when I did that personality test, I was
Melancholic.
100%. And then creative was the second part of that.
Yeah, melancholics generally are quite creative. I think.
Yeah.
At least the ones that I know.
To be honest, I find, like, whenever I'm trying something new, or the ability to try something new, I find it really fearful. Like, I get really scared. And so Sean's often saying, do something different or cook something else, and I literally freeze because I just get scared because in my thinking is I can't do it. I just can't do it, and I've just never challenged myself in that area. I've always shrunk and just done the normal thing, and so I've had to start fighting that in my life, dealing with that fear. And I found, like the one time you said, I want some different meals. I really feel like a buttered chicken curry, and the moment you said that, I was like, oh, I can't do this.
I didn't know you felt like that.
But I'm not expressing that to Sean inside, because Sean always wants to do new things, and if I don't come along with him, then I'm just left behind,
Discarded.
Yeah, which is fair enough. I should be coming along the journey, but inside I'm like, I can't do that. Like, how can I do that? And curry's like my favorite food, and I'm thinking, it's my favorite food. This is the one meal I should know how to do and do it really well. And I've always dreamt about making curries, but I've just never done it. And so I thought, I think you did see me a bit froze. And
I think we had a big fight about it.
We did. And then I'm like, okay, just get over it, Bunny, do it. So I started Googling it, and then I did it. You came home. I think your expectation was very low. You didn't think it's going to be good.
Yep.
And then we sat down, you ate it, and then what did you do? No, it's my turn for my ego. No,
it was all right. It was all right. I had to lie to the special kid over here about it. No, it was fantastic. It was probably one of the best.
It's really good.
if it wasn't the best, it was one of the best butter chickens I've ever had. Yeah. And not only that, I've been trying to eat keto, and I have been eating keto, and it's working. Yes. But in this ketogenic diet, you can't eat carbohydrates. And so Bonnie made a carbohydrate-free or carbohydrate-low naan bread, and it was superb. It's the best she's really ever made. Good.
Yeah, I was shocked as well.
So it was a huge win.
Yeah, huge. But with that, I realised this hurdle that seemed so big in my mind, that I conquered it, and I realised, what was I thinking? Like, why haven't I done this in years? And I realised how, like, when you have the knowledge, it gives you that confidence.
Yeah.
I had that in the birth experience. I read and I watched, and I suddenly felt this confidence. And yeah, so for me, it's just fighting that fear of, I don't think I can do it, or I'm going to fail. It's like, who cares if you fail? I have to keep telling myself that because I don't like to fail. But then that's another issue in my life.
Is this now like a counselling session with the lens?
So if you are... No, I'm kidding. So yeah.
Yeah, it really annoys me because I'll say, Bunny, let's try this thing, or let's go and do that thing, or I'll just be... When I get into a creative flow, I'll be talking about business ideas, and I'm just firing. I'm like, okay, we can do that. We can spin this thing around, and then I feel the brakes being put on by Bonnie, and it's the worst thing you can do when someone else is being creative in whatever arena. And you start putting on those brakes. Yeah, it's infuriating because you're firing on all cylinders, and then someone goes, well, they didn't like it, and they tried it. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
So just let people fire if they're being creative.
Yeah.
And
deal with I just had to deal with my issues, because I do want to come along. I do want to be creative, but I'm very scared, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I had to fight that mindset. It's a mindset.
And you did really well, and you made another curry the week later or 2 weeks later, and it was below average.
Yeah, what was it? Massaman.
And did the world fall apart?
No, I thought I'll just try this again.
Yeah, and you haven't tried it again since.
And I haven't tried it again
since. This was a whole big plot to get Bonnie to make another curry.
Well, then I tried a lamb Rogan Josh, and that was all right.
Yeah, I can't remember.
All right.
Yeah.
You're asking, what other areas are you creative?
Yeah. So that's something that you're exploring. You've been baking recently?
Yeah. Another thing is, baking has never been my thing because I thought I can't do it. And I'm not saying I can do it by any means, but your birthday was coming up and I made you a cheesecake.
It was brilliant.
And a cheesecake in my mind was like, I can't do that. And I did it. And then I made Sammy's birthday cake, a little guitar. And I did it. And I thought it was pretty good.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. He smashed it up and he had fun.
So why do you freeze up when something new comes along? I know you said you're afraid of failure, but why?
I think because it shows me up. I think it's insecurity at the end of the day. I think because I grew up feeling like an idiot for most of my life. And I've got through that now, so don't cry for me.
She's reconciled that she is an idiot.
Yeah, I've just surrendered. I'm a complete idiot. I just lived with that mindset. Not to get dark or anything, but at school I was bullied and I was told continuously, you're an idiot, you're this, you're that, you're pathetic, a lot worse than that. And I think after 4 years of that, I just believed it. And then I carried that up until just a few years ago. And so I never thought I could do anything. Which, when I think of that now, I just think, you idiot.
The bullies were right.
Because it's a mindset that I had to conquer. And it's that fear of failure because it's going to show up that I am an idiot. But when I finally realised that actually I can do things, and even if I can't, that's okay, but at least try. And that gave me confidence. So I'm a lot less reactional to new things, but I'm not saying it doesn't make me, like, I instantly do go into, oh dear, but I'm a lot better now. And then even some areas I've run at stuff. So give it to me, let me do it. And then afterwards I'm thinking, why am I, like, who's this Bonnie? That's a confidence that I'd never had before.
When we first started the business that you're involved in now, we would get customers' phone and Bonnie wouldn't even want to answer the phone.
No.
I'm not even talking about issues or problems, just someone would phone to make an order and she wouldn't want to answer the phone. I
was scared.
Yeah.
And it was because I thought they're going to ask me a question and I'm not going to know the answer. Like, I was a bit arrogant. I'm not going to know the answer. Like, I know the answers to everything. But, and then, it was just terrible.
It was terrible.
It was. Like, you can't run a business and not answer the phone.
I remember once we had a customer phone, right at the beginning, and they had a complaint about something, we'd messed up an order or something happened. And Bonnie was in tears afterwards. She was broken. Like, I can't do this again.
The whole world fell apart.
And I coached you through how to deal with that and how to turn it around. And it turned out that customer loved us at the end. And you fixed the problem and you went above and beyond like we do and solved it. And
But that was the fear of failure. And so when that customer was upset, it was pointing to my wound of failure, like reiterating, you are a loser, you are an idiot.
I think that's a big hindrance to creativity too, because sometimes there's an element to creativity that's public. It doesn't always. If you're a little picture drawer and you can draw in your bedroom and never show anyone, that's fine. And if you get pleasure out of that and that's enough, great. But if there's ever a public element to it, there's always a fear of failure when you're being creative, or a potential for failure if you're being creative. And especially in this Twitter savvy world, there's so much judgment and criticism, and it's just such a loud volume to that stuff that I think you have to deal with that fear to produce anything. Even if what you're doing is perfect and wonderful and no one could beat it, there's going to be naysayers.
There'll still be something.
Yeah.
And there's always something or someone better.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Not a better wife, but... kidding. All right.
Comment below if you want to be a second wife.
Yeah. Husband too. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm done.
You're done. One husband is enough. Yeah, so that's the intention. We're going to put I'm going to put a little bit more structure around being more creative and see that being expressed a bit more. And then also what I want to do is I want to multiply that creativity through other people. So in the very near future, next couple weeks or months, we'll be doing some creative things with people to attempt to multiply that. Because there's always a joy in your own creativity, but then it's not like another level, but it's just different joy, a different experience when others are operating in a space that you create for them to produce. And so I want to play around with a few ideas there, and we'll see.
That's good.
I think that's always fun.
So you'll be a lot less frustrated.
I'm always going to be frustrated.
I'm
always going to be frustrated.
That's a good frustration, though.
Maybe sometimes. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny watching little Sammy because he is so inquisitive, and I think all babies are inquisitive. But our baby is the only baby that's a special one, and he gets so bored with the status quo, and I think a lot of babies are like that. Once they understand something, they need something fresh and different, and so I'll give him different items that you probably shouldn't give babies.
Knives.
Well, I gave him a lighter to show him the flame. And I've given him a bottle opener today, the screw with the little handles.
Yeah.
Today for him to play with just different things. I give him spatulas and anything that I can find. There's different tripods, just so he has a bit of an experience to play with something different.
He loves it.
He needs it. He gets bored if he's got a box of toys, and he's bored with all of them because he understands all of them.
Yeah.
He knows what they are, and so they don't appeal to him anymore. And I think it's the same for all of us. We need something new. We need something fresh. There are the extremists who only want to play with something new and fresh and different. And that's a real shame for them because they won't produce anything in your life. You need the structure and the consistency, but you also need some degree of creativity. And depending on how you build your life, you can have greater degrees of creativity. But even creatives need to brush their teeth, pay their bills.
Yeah.
You can't just live completely free of responsibility, unless you marry a wife who does that all for you. Then you have other responsibilities. Yeah. So that leads us on to, I didn't plan to talk about this, but it's not even a business, one of the ideas that we want to play out in the next little while, we've been working on more creatively than structurally, although we're making some headway, is I want to start a business called The Toy Box. And it's going to be a non-profit, and we're going to give kids, underprivileged kids, toys. And on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, allow them to come in and swap toys, get something fresh, get something different. So maybe if you can't afford toys for your kid, but you might have access through this avenue. And then for really poor moms, we might be able to provide nappies or funds or food vouchers or something. We're still playing around with the idea. We've got a lot of people interested who want to contribute in certain ways, either by time or finance or particular products. But we want to build an arena, a space where we can support moms with stuff that they really need, and then also with toys. Toys, you don't need toys to survive, but that might be a great avenue, a fun avenue, an educational avenue to reach a wider audience, so that then all the profits of that will go back into helping people. And that potentially, we're going to start in the little town that we're in Hong Kong, but that could reach the whole of Hong Kong. It could reach Southeast Asia. It could be big. And we've got some ideas on the back of that could expand, that I won't share now, but that could really expand the business side of it, even though it's non-profit. But that's one of the creative outlets I've been playing with that I'm excited about. Yeah. So, and exploring some different business models that I've never played with, that I think could be very powerful. Very powerful.
New ones? Or...
Yeah, what we've discussed, which I can't discuss now. Okay. But yeah, I mean, some business, no, not secret. It's just in it's an embryo form
Yeah.
right now, and so I don't want to define it too much because it could just change.
Yeah,
And if it does change, then people will say, "Oh, what happened to that?" Well, when you're being creative, you don't play around with that seed once it's in the soil. It's hidden for a reason. You leave it hidden, and then when it starts to sprout, people will notice the fruit that you're producing. But if you just tell people, "Oh, the seed's an oak tree," why should they believe it? They shouldn't believe it. And you don't want people to even know it's there. Just let it sit.
Yeah, that's good.
So that first level, we got 3 levels of the business. The first level, I'm pretty confident and comfortable where it's at, and people are interested in that. The other 2 levels are still a little bit nebulous and experimental. And we'll see. By the time we get that first level done, the second level is going to be ready to go.
Good.
And then it'll be clear exactly what that is. So that's why a lot of people don't like hanging around with creatives, because they are not concrete. They often creatives, actually most of the time, creatives can't even articulate their vision very well. So that book that we read called The 5 Voices, there's very loosely, there's 5 different categories of people, one being a creative, others being pioneers, nurturers, guardians, and connectors. And the creative often is in leadership positions in different contexts because they can see beyond the horizon, they can see what's coming, they can see the new technology or the new way to do things, they can see cultural moves. But the classic tendency for creatives is that they cannot communicate the vision of what they see. And so people will speak to a creative and they'll have this idea and then they'll go, "Oh, this guy's a crazy man."
Yeah.
But you need the crazy man to get beyond the horizon that you're living in. You need an
Yeah.
expanding world. Law of entropy. And so if you don't have that person to be able to tell you where that beyond the horizon is, you're going to end up in trouble. But they can't tell you how to get there most of the time. And so I'm trying to learn. I'm not a creative, although I've got some elements in me that are. I'm trying to learn when to communicate certain things and how better to communicate them, and when to just go, "We can't talk about it," because you won't understand it
Point right now.
anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting. The 5 Voices. I highly recommend it. It's helped us in our marriage a little bit. It's helped us in our businesses. It's helped us in
Teams.
church, just to understand different dynamics.
Yeah.
And
People and why they're doing certain
what was
things.
your category under the 5 Voices?
I'm trying to remember. What was
You were a nurturer.
Yeah, nurture and I think creative was the second.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nurture is the big one.
High primary.
Yeah.
Caring for people and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Feeling everything with my
Yeah,
emotions.
so the offer and the nurturers will clash with the pioneers because the pioneers are very cutthroat. How do we get there? Doesn't matter the cost. Or they assess the cost, but once they decide that the cost is worth it, doesn't matter if there's casualties. Get out of my way. I need to.
Get it done.
Even if they're suffering, they'll be like, "It doesn't matter. We need to get to the prize." Whereas nurturers, they'll stop the whole movement. They'll stop the whole process just to care for that one person who's got the broken foot on the side of the road.
The dog on the road.
So I'm a pioneer. That was my voice, my main voice, and you're a nurturer, and so
We
it
clash.
helped to explain some of our clashing.
Yeah.
And why sometimes you'll literally want to stop on the side of the road because something's wrong, and I'll be like, "Bonnie, don't worry about that.
go."
We got to go there. Forget about that. That happens all the
But
time.
no, we have to.
There's people dying right now on the planet. Why do you want to get concerned with this?"
Yeah. It's good. Yeah. Oh man.
So yeah, highly recommend that book.
What was your second one?
Second was creative.
Creative. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but the primary is
Pioneer.
pioneer. It's helped me to stay out of a little bit of trouble as well because they talk about the weapon systems for each voice, and the pioneer's weapon system is a rocket launcher. So if you cross even if it's perception, even if it's not true, but it feels for a pioneer that you're crossing them, because everyone's decided on the mission, everyone's going in this direction, and now someone's bucking the system. They get the rocket launcher out. And so when I was reading this, I was like, "Oh yeah, I do that. I do that. I do it for good intention and good motive because we all agreed on the thing, and now it's changing. We said we're all sacrificing." And so I've been much lighter on the trigger.
Little fireworks now.
No, I still got rocket launchers.
I know.
I'm just trying to not use them.
You use them on me.
Yeah, I do.
Get me moving.
And you don't
Move
understand
along.
it because you're like, I'm a nurturer. Don't you care for me? Don't you love me? I'm like, no.
What my emotions?
Anyway, this podcast has helped to scratch a creative itch. Whether you enjoyed it or not, I don't know. I hope you did.
Like it anyway.
Like, subscribe, comment below. And thanks for joining us. I hope you see us next time. We're going to be a bit more regular. And that's the topic of this podcast. But appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.